How's it going? Ryan here at trailer.Com. Today on our 2019 Honda Pilot, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT T-connector vehicle wiring harness. Our wiring is going to provide our trailer with the necessary lighting signals while you're towing it down the road to not only keep you safe, but legal. And as a bonus, it's also going to help other motorists know what your intentions are as you're going down the road. Now, a couple things I really like about this kit is one, it just plugs right into our factory harness, so it's going to be very easy to get hooked up. And two is the fact that it uses a module box. Now that module box is going to protect our factory wiring if a short were to occur on our trailer. Now some of our customers wonder if their four-way wiring can be permanently mounted outside. And the answer is yes. And it just so happens that there is a rubber grommet conveniently located right there next to our box. And if you wanted to run that wiring outside, all you would do is remove that grommet and drop it down through and mount it in your desired location. So if you choose to leave it mounted inside the vehicle, whenever you're not using it or disconnected from your trailer, but you plan on hooking it right back up, one way you can store it so your wire isn't flopping around is you can take the provided dust cap, go around your safety chain loop, and plug it back in. Now the wiring is going to provide you with 3 amps for your stop and turn signals and 6 amps for your tail lights. So that's going to be more than enough power to run any kind of light you want, whether it be an LED or an incandescent. But whenever you're done using it, you can store it inside. Now one thing I do want to point out, when you do run your wire across your threshold, anywhere on the threshold is fine. The only spot you want to avoid is this area here with the latch. That way you don't accidentally pinch your wiring. But with that being said, when we're done, you can just wind it up, put it in the corner, and pop our cover back on. Now one of the things that you might be interested in picking up, other than a hitch, would be a brake controller, especially if you have a trailer with brakes. And a couple of the ones that I really like is the Taillights P3 as well as the Red Arc. As I mentioned earlier, the installation is very easy, so let's go ahead and do it together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working here in the back, so we'll lift up our hatch. Now we're going to remove our floor covering and set it to the side. And then once that is out of the way, we're going to have this panel here that we need to pop out. To do that, we'll simply just grab underneath the bottom, kind of pull up and towards you, and just work your way down it, and it'll slide out. We can set this aside also. Now we're going to come here to our threshold where our latch is for our hatch, and there's going to be a small square panel that we need to take out first. So you can just take a flathead screwdriver, kind of just carefully work it up. Once we get it to break free, and just work it off of our hook and set it to the side. Now with that out of the way, we can then remove our entire threshold. And once again, we'll come down to the bottom side, get our hand underneath it, kind of pull up towards the front and up until it pops out. Now over here on the driver's side panel, we're going to have this cargo hook. We're going to fold that hook down, and then we're going to actually pop this little plastic panel down as well, and that'll expose a screw behind it. So to get that down, you'll take a flathead, kind of just work behind it, it'll pop down. We can grab our Phillips screwdriver and remove that screw. When that screw is completely loose, we can grab our whole hook assembly, remove it, and set it to the side. Now if we come up a little bit, we're going to have another cargo hook that we need to take off. We'll first start by using a flathead to pop this cap off. We'll carefully get behind it, work it off. Then underneath it, we're going to have an 8mm screw. And we'll just completely remove it. And we're going to have a small panel right here. You can pop that off. There is a little opening here. That way we can get our flathead in there. And just pry up on it and remove it. Now we're able to peel back our side panel a little ways. That way we can get behind it and have some room to work. So we'll grab it down at the bottom and kind of just peel it away from the body of our vehicle. Kind of just work our way up. Don't need a ton of room, just enough to kind of get our hand in there. So if we peel our panel back a little bit, right inside we're going to find a white plug. Now this is the plug that we're going to connect our new harness to. So now we can take our new harness on the side that has a white plug. What we're going to do is feed that up through this hole. And if we lift our panel back, we're able to grab our plug, and now we can connect it to that factory plug. Now this will only plug in one way, so you don't have to worry about plugging anything in backwards. Now we can take our white wire with the pre-attached ring terminal and ground it out. Now the spot that I chose is actually a bolt that already exists, and that's this 10mm bolt right up here. So I'll go ahead and take that out and ground it there. Now if you don't want to ground it there, what you can do is use the included self-tapping screw and use that to ground out a ring terminal to a clean, solid piece of metal. Now if we come here to our fuse holder, we can remove the dust cap and install the included 10-amp fuse. Once it's all the way down, then pop your cap back on. Now we can secure our box under wiring, but first I'm going to route it where I want it. Now the spot that I found that's going to work good is back in here. So we'll remove this spare tire jack cover, just pull it off. And I'm just going to start feeding that wire down to our opening. Just like so. The spot that we're going to mount our box will be on the bottom of our trunk pan right here in this area. And so to do that, we're going to take our two-sided tape, peel it back. I do want to mention, which I went ahead and already did, is you want to make sure you clean both surfaces. So you want to make sure this is clean with some rubbing alcohol, as well as the spot that you're going to secure it to. Push our tape on, peel that other side off. And now I'm going to secure it. Once I have it in place, I'll show you what it looks like. And that's what our box looks like once it's stuck in place. Now one thing I do want to point out back up here is that this actually is a mechanism that opens and closes our fuel door. So what I went ahead and did was just use a zip tie to secure our ground wire to this factory wiring, just to prevent it from accidentally coming over and eliminate a chance of it getting bound up. Now we need to come up front and pop our hood. Now right here, close to the driver's side, we're going to have our fuse box. We take this cover off. There'll be 3 tabs, 2 on the bottom. Just push in, 1 on the top. Just pop it off. Then we need to put in our included fuse. On the slot that we're going to do it is right here. So we'll take our fuse, make sure the tabs are horizontal, and just push it into place. Once it's in, just take your cover and reinstall it. Now before we put all our panels back in place, it's a good idea to test our wiring to make sure it's working properly. I'm using a tester, but if you don't have one of these, you can always just hook up to your trailer and do it that way. So I'll go ahead and use my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my brakes, and my running lights. Now that we've verified everything is working properly, you can go ahead and re-secure all our panels in the opposite order that we removed them. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the CURT T-connector vehicle wiring harness on our 2019 Honda Pilot.